comedy. How did you get started in that?
Okay, well, I got started in comedy by doing stuff like this, hanging out with my boys and like telling them about my life, and they just sitting there laughing, like, what the fuck y'all laughing? Especially when I meant shit.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? I was like,
I'm dead serious. Y'all over here cracking up. I'm dead the fuck serious.
Once I saw like a lot of my friends, when I would just get emotional about shit, and I'd see them, they saw that I was being real, but they would start doing this, what I mean, as I'm talking about it. And so one of my boys pulled me aside and goes, dude, I don't know if you ever thought about this, but you might want to try it. Because, dude, you're funny. I was like, how am I funny? I'm being serious. No, you don't understand.
You're a funny motherfucker. You got something.
Exactly. So that's when I tell you the story. So I got on stage. I was in the Marine Corps, and my staff sergeant. I would just do like everybody and talk shit. Oh, Clay, you funny, blah blah blah. And I was like, yeah, one day I'm gonna get on stage and I'm gonna try it and blah blah blah. I was just talking shit. I was never gonna do it.
Right.
And one day my staff sergeant just looked at me and just started. And then 2 weeks later, he comes up to me and he set me down. And he goes, all right, Clay, you say you want to do comedy. I said, yeah, one day I'll get on stage. He goes, no, not one day.
Right now.
I signed you up on Friday.
Right.
You're on the open mic. Oh, and that's your appointed place of duty.
Right.
What?
So you have to be there.
And we're all going to be there. So guess what? So I was like, what the fuck? Dude, the whole week, my stomach was all fucked up.
Yeah.
What? So that was my first time on stage, and was mainly because somebody made you.
They literally forced you.
Yeah.
You had no choice.
No choice.
That's diabolical.
Yeah, exactly. It was.
Okay, so how did it go? Like you...
Oh, God, it was horrible. I mean horrible. It was. But what happened was there was a professional comic there, and he was my first time, and he pulled me aside and he goes, hey, so how long have you been doing comedy? And I was like, well, honestly, this was
your first time.
This is my first time. He goes, no, I saw what you did, but how long you been doing it? I go, no, that was my first time. And he goes, really?
Yeah.
And I go, yeah. And he goes, okay, well, just so you know, you were horrible.
I ain't gonna sugarcoat it. You were ass.
But he said, but there was a lot of stuff that you did naturally that you shouldn't have done.
Right.
Your first time up there. And he goes, honestly, you got a talent for this. You might want to go ahead and think about doing this.
Right.
So in my mind, I thought, okay, if that's the worst it's going to be, it can only get better.
It's only up from here.
It can only
I've already started at the bottom.
Exactly. I started less than the bottom. Dude, I was on the negative.
So it's only up from here. Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. Who would you say your biggest influence in comedy would be?
My biggest influence in comedy, of course, Richard Pryor was when I first started.
Right.
But then I learned to look inward.
Right.
And a lot of times when I see comics who just get started, you think about trying to be big. So you look at the big name comic out there and you see what they're doing and you're trying to be like them. Once I started getting good is when I started saying, how do you feel about this?
Right.
Don't worry about them.
Exactly.
How do you feel? And literally going inside myself and looking to see how I felt about situations.
Right.
That's when I started to like pull away from other people in comedy.
Mm-hmm.
So, but my biggest influence was definitely
Richard Pryor.
Every
black comic is like Richard Pryor.
My age,
or either Richard or Red Fox.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. My age or older, definitely Richard Pryor.
Mm-hmm. See, like Richard Pryor, obviously legend. And I believe it definitely is a generational thing. Like you said, everybody your age or older, Richard was the guy that they look to.
Yeah.
But I feel like a lot of people my age and younger going back to looking at the things Richard has done, they probably wouldn't feel the same way. I've seen some of his movies. I've seen obviously Harlem Nights. I've seen what else did I see he was in? I didn't see any of his. I didn't see a full stand up of him. I never saw. I never saw a full special. Okay. Like I think he was like live at the Sunset Strip.
Sunset Strip.
I saw clips of that. I don't think I saw the whole thing. But like, so me as an artist and as a creative, I understand he was very talented, very funny guy for the time. But me, like people in my generation and younger, they'll probably look at Eddie more than Richard. Because to me, Eddie was
well, Eddie, I'll tell you the thing. When Eddie hit, he shown Richard Pryor,
right?
Because he was the first rock star comic,
right? He was.
I mean, he was a rock star. I mean, and Richard couldn't, compete with how big Eddie got,
right?
But as an artist, Richard Pryor is my thing. But Eddie was way more talented with the voices and the stuff that he did.
The charisma he had.
Yeah. I mean, he was. I mean, hell, he was a child and he could do anything on stage.
I just thought of something. I just thought of a dope comparison. Richard Pryor is to Eddie Murphy what James Brown was to Michael Jackson.
Oh yeah.
Like if you look at the two comparisons, like James Brown and Richard Pryor.
Yeah.
Like your favorite artist is the James Brown is that, Richard Pryor is that. Like all of your favorite comics, they'll probably say Richard Pryor was the guy.
Yep.
All of your favorite singers, they'll say James Brown was the guy.
Yep.
But then once again, you got these two megastars to come right after them.
Right afterwards.
Michael Jackson, Eddie Murphy.
Yep.
They became the new
guys.
architects.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying?
Yeah,
So
I totally agree.
that's crazy.
Yeah,
that's crazy.
And you're right. There is parallels with that.
Like I said, I mean, to me, Eddie for me was the guy mainly because, like, I'm born 95.
Okay.
So obviously, I wasn't there when Eddie was at the height, like Raw, Delirious, what I'm saying? But I've seen them.
Yeah.
Know, and I know him from the movies he's done. He hasn't done real comedy, like stand-up comedy, since the 80s.
Yeah.
So I didn't get to see him perform, new material. But just based off of his movies and the shit I see him do on Saturday Night Live, all that shit is like, Eddie.
Oh, he's a legend.
Yeah.
He's a legend, man. I mean, he's on the Mount Rushmore.
Right.
There's no question. He's on. You said 95. That's when I got into the Marine Corps. There it is. One more just grow.
One more. He got one more gray hair just for that. Like, damn. I gotta pluck this motherfucker.
Exactly. Damn.
Well, no, okay.